The university stands for humanism and tolerance, for reason, for adventure of ideas, and for the search of truth. It stands for the forward march of the human race towards even higher objectives. If the universities discharge their duties adequately, then it is well with the nation and the people. These words of Jawaharlal Nehru embody in them the guiding principle of the University of Pune. Established in 1948, the university has since become one of the leading centers for research and teaching in the country. In early 1950, the university was allocated over 411 acres and came to be known as the Oxford of the East. The university houses 40 departments which provide a wide array of academic programs. Though a young center, the university has made a significant impact in various areas of research and teaching and continues to strive for excellence. The University of Pune, formerly known as University of Pune, was established under the Pune University Act, passed by the Bombay legislature on 10th February 1948. In the same year, Dr. M.R. Jaikar assumed office as the first Vice-Chancellor of the university. The present Vice-Chancellor of the University of Pune, Dr. Narendra Jadhav, is a well-known economist, public speaker and a social worker. He joined the Reserve Bank of India in 1977, served in various capacities, and is presently head of its Department of Economic Analysis and Policy. Dr. Jadhav has in past served as advisor to the Governor of National Bank of Ethiopia and has visited several countries as part of various missions. Sir has various books and research papers to his credit, including his book Amcha Bap and Amhi, which was nominated for Sahitya Academy Award, and a 52-part Hindi serial is currently underway on the same. He has also won numerous awards including Maharashtra Ratna Award for all-round contribution and FIE Foundation National Award for contribution to Indian culture. Sir has put underway various developmental programs like the Samarth Bharat Abhiyan, which involves all institutions under the University of Pune to come forth and adopt villages for their economic, educational and social upliftment. This year, the university celebrates its Diamond Jubilee. The University of Pune and the Department of Management Sciences on this occasion brings to you International Conference on Global Meltdown, Opportunities and Challenges. One of the favorite cartoons of all time is that of a scrawny mouse caught out in an open field with a large hawk swooping down on it. There is no place to run, no place to hide. All the mouse can do is facing the hawk. So as the saying goes, in the face of total disaster, the only appropriate response is utter defiance. The decade of 2000s saw a global explosion in prices, focused especially in commodities and housing, marking an end to the commodities recession of 1980 to 2000. In February 2008, Reuters reported that global inflation was at historic levels and that domestic inflation was at 10 to 20-year highs for many nations. The inevitable finally happened. The housing bubble in the US burst. Much of the housing was financed by so-called subprime mortgages to people with a low credit rating. The amount of the loan was as high as in billions. On the other hand, the failure of the banks to maintain the record of the borrowers resulted in the banks sinking neck deep in debt. Global financial markets were shaken to their core on the 15th of September after Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, and Merrill Lynch agreed to be taken over just as the American International Group asked the Fed for a lifeline. The deepening crisis took on new, bigger victims. Beginning with failures of large financial institutions in the United States, it rapidly evolved into a global credit crisis, deflation, and sharp reductions in shipping, resulting in a number of European bank failures and declines in various stock indices, and large reductions in the market value of equities and commodities worldwide. It took 7 economists 11 months to realize what should have been obvious given all foreclosures, bank failures, and layoffs. The United States is officially mired in recession. January 2008 was an especially volatile month in the world stock markets, with a surge in implied volatility measurements of the US-based S&P 500 index and a sharp decrease in non-US stock market prices. On Monday, January 21st, 2008, commonly referred to as the Black Monday, which resulted in a global shares crash. The present situation is like a vicious circle. As banks have been burdened with losses, their assets valuation has nosedived. Thus funding gets harder to come, which in turn further contracts credit. This will drag numerous banks and corporates into downward spiral. Such a downturn has triggered loss of jobs, further eroding property values, which could further trigger a new series of mortgage defaults. This crisis has led to increased unemployment and other signs of contemporaneous economic downturns in major economies of the world. The International Monetary Fund expects the UK to suffer the worst contraction amongst advanced nations in 2009, with its economy predicted to shrink by 2.8%. Troubles in the banking sector have led the government to bail out some of the country's biggest financial institutions, including the Royal Bank of Scotland. Another spillover is that foreign financial institutions, largely in Europe, hold substantial quantities of undervalued US securities. All these losses come to light, European financial institutions will also get into red, and finally, confidence world over will get eroded. China, however, presents a different scenario. It is sufficiently integrated with the industrialized West to be able to provide support, and yet not so integrated to go down with it. The global downturn failed to prevent China overtaking Germany as the world's third largest economy. Although China is expected to slow down this year, the most pessimistic growth projection is around 8%. It would be too naive to imagine that a recession in the United States would not have an impact on India. Well, as the cliché goes, whenever US sneezes, the world catches a cold. Significant slowdown is bound to have reverberations elsewhere. Fears of a US recession led to panic in the Indian stock market. January 21st and 22nd saw a meltdown with a mind-boggling $450 billion in market capitalization being vaporized. In turn, the Indian markets crashed, taking a cue from a probable recession in the US and a global economic slowdown. It then spawned a vicious circle of events, one leading to another, that led to a sharp slowdown in India's economy. The ongoing financial sector crisis in the US and its repercussions on developed markets worldwide will result in lower capital inflows into emerging markets like India. The first to be hit majorly was the IT-enabled service sector, since a majority of Indian IT firms derive 75% or more of their revenues from the United States. A classic case of having put all eggs in one basket. The manufacturing sector has had to ramp up scale economies and improve productivity and operational efficiency, thus lowering prices in order to offset the loss of revenues from the US recession. Agriculture, which makes up for a fifth of the economy, was one of the sectors to see growth fall. While industrial firms such as Tata have been severely affected by the freeze in the world credit markets and general fall in global spending. The global recession has cut demand for exports, and economists are calling for further measures to boost growth. Job losses are imminent. Jet Airways announced a major layoff and had to hastily backtrack following government pressure. Indian stock market indices have collapsed by 60% since early January as foreign investors have hurriedly withdrawn funds. It has always been the spirit of India and its instinct for survival that has helped it tide over. And it is the same that will help it tide over the recession. India won her independence not through war or revolution, but non-cooperation, street protests, and the art of quietly subverting the economy. What does this tell us about the future? Will the global economy be able to rely on us to deliver it from recessions in future?